Hey there, this is day number 15, January 22nd, 2024, of the 60-day Rapid Revenue Acceleration Challenge. And I will give you a brief update of my activities. Today I met with two business owners I met last week through the Professional Networking Association Northwest organization. One of them was a bookkeeper who would like to introduce me to two current and one past client that she has. So very, very exciting. So outcomes for the day, three potential client introductions. And this is what I learned. So I feel really energized by meeting with a bookkeeper who gets the value of Profit Stash. And I also want to share with you some of the mental and emotional challenges I've been going through over the past couple of days. So I'm going to share with you a conversation I had earlier today. So today's Monday, January, what are we, 22nd. So we're at day 15 of the Rapid Revenue Acceleration campaign for More Profit Rocket. And probably didn't mention it in the updates on Saturday and Sunday, but it was actually a rough weekend, really rough weekend. And it was rough because of, not because of the business side, mainly because of the tennis side. And what happened was, I practiced for about 3 hours on Saturday, and then I played a team league match on Sunday. And didn't go very well. And it's a good player, but normally I could do probably well against. I got one game. And so that means out of my last three competitive matches, total of 6 sets, I've won a total of 8 games. And that was, and it's weird because in the beginning of the first set of my match yesterday, I had this odd feeling. I thought, wow, what if I don't get any games this match? That I can't say I felt great out there swinging. And well, I got one game. And after I was done, I was, I'm known for mental toughness. And so my approach was to stay calm and just keep swinging. But nothing was really working. I was missing by a little bit here and there. Just wasn't all there. And afterwards, I took off, and normally I'd hang out with the rest of the team and talk and stuff. But I just headed right out, all sweaty, and I called a couple of tennis buddies, and I was really bummed out. I was really acutely depressed. And yeah, I know this is a game, right? It's just a game. And I was worried about like what was happening to me. Am I not thinking clearly? Am I delusional in my efforts to train and put in all the effort that I do to train off court at the age of 61, competing against guys who are 10, 20, sometimes 30 years younger than me. And up until now, able to compete quite well. But I just started having all these doubts and fears and concerns. And so I called my wife I pulled over on the side of the road, and I was really just, even though I'm saying in my mind, this is just a game. It's just a game. There are bigger problems in the world. And it didn't help me get out of the funk. And what she and I talked about is, what are my expectations? And am I taking care of myself? And what she meant by taking care of myself is physically, mentally, and emotionally. And that meant like my recovery drink after playing tennis, which I didn't have with me. I forgot to bring it. And hydrating. And then she thought maybe I'm overtraining. Possibly. And then from the mental side, she said, look, you've been under a lot of stress lately. You've been staying up late, getting up early because of all the activities you have going on for the 60-day Rapid Revenue Acceleration Challenge. And there's emotional stress that comes with it. Like I'm thinking, oh, I've got to pull this off. I can't fail at this. I have to be successful, because how's it going to look if I don't beat my record or surpass the record, and all these things. And, well, what if my approach doesn't work? And all these what ifs, right? And I said, well, I'm used to juggling those things. And the other thing I realized, I was talking to her about it, is that one thing that I did change unconsciously is actually my meditation practice. It's the only thing I could think of that was different. And I told her over the past probably 2-3 months, I tried to shortcut it, make it quicker. And the quality hasn't been that great. And I said, that's the only thing I can think of that has been significantly different from a mental and emotional side of things, in addition to the intentional stress that's going on. Because I tend to do well and actually thrive when there's pressure. So we talked about that. And I think that I need to get back into the practices. And I've been trained in advanced meditation practices. For whatever reason, I just thought, tired, I need to shortcut it. And, I'm seeing probably the side effects of trying to shortcut something here, even though I don't get immediate benefit right after the meditation. I think it's showing up. And so that's one component. And I thought, and part of my fear is, okay, how does this translate to the business world? And one of my concerns is, have I lost my ability to focus? Am I deluding myself, right? Am I, operating based on magical thinking? Because part of my delusion on the tennis side is, at the age of 61, I can still compete with these guys who are, pretty high level and, like I said, 10, 20, 30 years younger than me, and put up a good fight, if not win. And lately, it just I haven't been there. And I haven't been able to figure out why. But today, I had an insight into it, which seems like, when I tell you what it is, you'll probably go, duh. So my left knee has been bothering me off and on. And I've been doing some things like, my right knee was a disaster 3.5 years ago, and I rehabbed it using the reverse out knee pain program that my buddy Carl told me about. And it miraculously turned things around to the point it feels completely normal. Whereas I went and saw an orthopedic surgeon for it. I knew what he'd say. He said, "Oh, you're headed for a knee replacement. Get an MRI and rest and ice and ibuprofen." I'm like, yeah, forget that. I'm not doing any knee replacement. So it actually, I reversed the knee pain. And I thought, okay, I won't have problems on the left side. Well, the left side started acting up in September. So it's been off and on. And I have to really go back to the program, because I've been doing the program off and on, and it's helped. And when it starts helping the knee, I stop doing the program. Why? Don't ask me. Probably because I'm trying to shortcut it. Anyhow, so I realized today that how much in denial I am. Denial about, okay, this knee is actually impairing me. And I think I go out there on the tennis court thinking, okay, I can't run as quick. And big part of my game is quickness and agility and being able to track down balls. And I subconsciously realized that I can't do that with this knee the way it is. It's like I'm not having like massive pain, but it just doesn't bend like it used to. It doesn't extend as quickly, and I don't have the same burst speed and acceleration that I do off the left side, or off my right knee. And so with one side being able to accelerate, the other's impaired, like I'm not fully there physically. And I still think I can still win at a high level. Okay, maybe, but it's not working out very well. So this acute depression is a combination of my expectations about what I ought to be able to do at this point, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and what's practical. And my wife said to me today, she said, why do you need to compete like you compete? Can't you just play for fun? And I'm like, I don't know. And I thought about that. I thought, wait, I'm not doing this professionally. Am I not doing this for fun? And partly it's fun because there's a challenge and I want to see if I can overcome the knee problem and continue to, quote, turn back the clock. But I mean, because I have a reputation. Part of my identity is being a competitive tennis player, and I have become known in my tennis circles for being a 61-year-old who can run around like a 40-year-old. And that's part of my identity. And I'll acknowledge that I'm not as quick as I was when I was 21 competing in college. But I'm still, other than this left knee, when my left knee's functioning okay, I'm still lightning quick. Even though I'm 61, I'd be lightning quick for a 40-year-old. And so in my mind, I ought to be able to maintain my quickness till I'm at least minimum 90 years old and run around and compete with 40 and 50-year-olds when I'm 90. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about that. So that's why I'm calling myself on it, on being like delusional. But at the same time, I think there's a place for attempting to go beyond what is expected. Anyhow, so how does that play over to the business side? So, I did update Saturday and Sunday, as you've seen if you've been watching the videos. And I went through, matter of fact, I just didn't say anything about the mental and emotional anguish I had been going through. I have a little more perspective on it now. And regardless of whether it's tennis, physical ailments, mental or emotional issues going on, I realize that on the business side, on the tennis side, on the life side, what's important is to keep coming back to what's really ultimately important. Like why are these things so important to me? And I get that tennis is part of my identity. But so is being an entrepreneur a big part of my identity. And I started thinking about why take these risks? Why put so much time, money, and effort into Profit Stash? And I thought back to my time as a young plastic surgeon starting out my practice in 1995. And as a lot of you probably know my story, I'll make it short. Within a couple years of starting my practice in 95, I was nearly broke. I mean, the beggars, people begging for money on the corners of Seattle had a better net worth than me. Theirs was zero. Mine was like negative 350,000 and growing. So I learned from that experience. I turned things around. But I learned from that experience how to run a business. I was the business. Nobody told me that was going to happen when I was training for 7 years in surgical residency or medical school. I was a business. But then, fast forward to 2005 when I started working with entrepreneurs and advising them, and then becoming an entrepreneur of my own, I realized that I'd become the business guide and mentor that I wished that I'd had back then. Laying out fundamental principles of successful entrepreneurship and business ownership and business management, business financial management. And that's what drives me to this nanosecond, is being able to be that guide for fellow entrepreneurs and business owners. And one of the ways is through the software. And it's really important to me to simplify the approach and make it easier for people to understand where they need to focus And like I was back in 2005, I remember my accountant gave me these printouts of my financial statements. Hey, George, here's your P&L. What's that? Oh, that's your profit and loss statement. It must only show a loss because I'm not making any money here. Balance sheet. What do you do with that? Is that like for a drink holder or something like that? I don't know what to do with it. Nobody was there to teach me what it means. I didn't know what to do strategically with these things. So over all these past decades since then, I've been working on how do I make it easy for me and for my clients to take the numbers out of QuickBooks and understand what to do with them. What's the story these numbers are telling? And what should we do strategically and tactically moving forward? But how do you decide what to do? How do you decide what to focus on? How do you know when you need to improve your marketing? How do you know it's actually working? How do you know when to hire people? How do you know when you really need to cut down on expenses? How do you know your sales plan is working? And without having the numbers, even though I don't call myself a real numbers person, I do think it's important to make decisions that are informed based on data, but not like just because the numbers say this, it's got to be this way, not dogmatically. But I also think we ought to look at the data and counter that with true intuition, not guess intuition, but true intuition. So tying that back in, like that's what's important to me, is being able to contribute based on my experience and what I see missing in the business world and in the entrepreneurial world, and learning from past traumas and being able to use that energy to do something useful and practical in the world. How does that fit with the tennis world? I think there are times in business and in life where it's important to step back and sometimes take a breather and go, okay, I've been pushing, and I need to just get a different perspective from the inside out. Sure, you can get outside perspectives, and that's helpful to help point out blind spots. But ultimately, it's success and happiness and fulfillment. It's an inside job. And what I realize right now is that on the tennis side, I need to take a breather. And I have concerns about that. I don't want to decondition. But I also recognize that, especially today, like my knee is not bending. I mean, I can go out on the court and think I can win, but like if I have to really fight and it's going to be a tough match for 2.5 hours, I'm just not 100%. In my mind, maybe I think I am, but I'm physically not 100% for what 100% is for me at age 61. And so from the business side, what I did over the weekend, I started looking at what are my activities for the past couple of weeks since I started this Rapid Revenue Acceleration Challenge. And I realized that the people I'd been meeting, and I've talked about this in the videos, the people that I had been meeting, they're not, what Profit Stash has to offer is beyond what would be useful for them. For most of them, they're totally fine with a simple spreadsheet. You know, these are the goals, or not even these are the goals, but this is how much revenue I need. And then this is kind of marketing I'm doing. If I get this many clients, I'm good. They don't need much more detail than that. They don't need to look at the sophisticated cost of goods sold. Okay. So like I've said many times, I need to make it easy for the right people who can take advantage of Profit Stash. I need to make it easy for them to find me. So fortunately, I had a meeting scheduled for tomorrow that got moved up to today with a bookkeeper I had met last week at one of the networking events. And I had mentioned something about Profit Stash, but what I did today is I just made up some numbers based on what she was telling me she was trying to accomplish in her business. And I use Profit Stash to demonstrate how to set financial sales and marketing goals that are connected, and then how to use that as the base to understand moving forward. How are we progressing towards those goals, and what do we need to think about to improve our ability to reach those financial sales and marketing goals? What do we need to think about strategically and tactically on the financial side, on the sales side, and the marketing side? And she talked to me about some of the clients she's working with, and I use those as scenarios in demonstrating Profit Stash. So ultimately, what she's very interested and very excited about how incorporating Profit Stash into her accounting business could, one, help her to be more attractive to other clients. And for her existing clients, she's excited about how this can help her to provide an additional level of value that distinguishes her from other bookkeepers, and that she can actually charge higher fees because she's providing greater value. So I'm going to set her up. She's going to put her own goals into the account. And then there are actually two existing clients she wants to connect me with, probably happen in the next 2 weeks. And then a third client who is a past client from way back who she thinks would be a good person to potentially reactivate or reconnect with. So this is, on day 15 of the Rapid Revenue Acceleration Challenge, this is the probably most movement forward of all the interactions that I've had. And so that to me is a one indicator that reaching out to more bookkeepers is a strong way to go for more Profit Rocket and Profit Stash. So this definitely helped my energy, especially from being really bummed out over the weekend over what's happening with tennis. I think I'm in a bit of a grief state on the tennis side of things, because I'm over here thinking, it kind of reminds me when my right knee was a disaster and I thought my tennis career was over. I really thought, I could hardly walk. And I kind of feel that way right now. I'm thinking, my left knee really going to get better? Have I lost the touch on the tennis court? Am I ever going to win another point in a tennis match? Am I ever going to win another tennis match? And just a lot of irrational doom and gloom thinking. That said, I'm really optimistic about more Profit Rocket, and certainly this meeting today has helped to bolster my energy and enthusiasm. So we'll take that into tomorrow, and as I continue my outreach to reach more bookkeepers. So that's really the update for today. This is just part of what happens in the entrepreneurial world. I just, a lot of people talk about how things go, and when you're telling a short story about how things went, a lot of things get whitewashed, a lot of details get left out. And I think it's important for people to know that it's not typically all smooth sailing. There are emotional and mental ups and downs, and there are doubts that come in and questioning. And I think that's healthy. I think it's healthy to question the path that we think we're on, and question whether, does it make sense to pivot? Does it make sense to continue in this direction? And I test myself on that, both intellectually, does it make sense, but intuitively, energetically, does it feel like it makes sense? That's my update for the day. And I think that there are more opportunities coming this week. I think that I feel more energized, to use the Star Trek term. Energize, yes. So we'll see. And like I said, I'm still optimistic about the prospects for more Profit Rocket, and I think the value proposition is very strong. I think I need to reach out to more bookkeepers and then become more facile with having that conversation dance with bookkeepers. to address get into their world and understand what's going on with them. And yeah, so that's my update for today. Okay, I hope you got insight out of what I shared. And this is one of the things in addition to what I shared that I learned over the past few days, today I'm even more convinced that I need to ramp up my connecting with my existing network of colleagues, and in particular looking for introductions to bookkeepers they may know. So summary of results for today: potential leads, 3, potential client introductions, no other influencer introductions or connections, no new influencer meetings scheduled, and actually one new trial user. I should update that because the bookkeeper I met with will be going on a trial, so she can test this out. And so that'll increase the new trials to 2. All right, and no new monthly recurring revenue. As I mentioned before, I do want to start implementing the steps from the LinkedIn cold outreach training programs, and I feel more enthusiastic about reaching out to bookkeepers given my great meeting with a bookkeeper today. I did mention sending outreach emails and videos to colleagues, in particular looking for introductions to bookkeepers. And I think even more importantly, I haven't had a chance to get to this, but exploring Facebook groups for bookkeepers, in particular, sure, business coaches and consultants, but I'm going to focus on bookkeepers for right now, because what needs to happen next is to really fine tune and tailor my messaging for bookkeepers. As far as the daily and weekly content, I'm thinking based on the activities I had today and limited time, I think if I can do weekly content, that's going to be great for starters. Okay, so activities coming up. I do have, I don't think I've mentioned it here, but I'm going to be attending the Entrepreneurship Center tour at a local college, Edmonds College, tomorrow, and I'll meet with the entrepreneurship director. And I do have a couple meetings with other people I've met from networking groups scattered over tomorrow and the day after. All right, so who can benefit from More Profit Rocket? So if you know anybody who is a bookkeeper, or maybe you have a bookkeeper who wants to provide a higher level of service to their clients, maybe they want to offer strategic business guidance themselves or collaborate with me on offering strategic business guidance, these bookkeepers can earn a percentage of the subscriptions to Profit Stash when their clients sign up for one of the levels of Profit Stash, along with the business guidance that can come with one of the levels. All right, that's it for now, and I'll look forward to giving you the next update tomorrow. Bye.